That is filth.
It's one of the many ways that golf and countdown are different. Is you celebrate getting a 9 in one and not the other.
Welcome to the Couple of Shankers Golf Podcast with Ben and Tom Sherrard.
Okay, hi. It's episode 5 of the Couple of Shankers Golf Podcast. I am Ben Sherrard, and as ever, I'm joined by my brother Tom. How you doing, Tom?
Good evening, Ben. It's good to finally see you again after our little absence last time round.
Did you miss me?
I missed your musk.
Oh. love a little Anchorman quote. Early doors there. Great, good stuff. So look, it's a bit of a different one this week, innit? Different one last time, different one this week, because we've just got off the phone with Jason Palmer, who we will introduce formally in a little bit. But he's Caddie on tour for European Tour player Chris Paisley. Just got off the phone talking to Jason. We had a really great conversation. So if you're interested in sort of life on tour, if you're interested in sort of caddy player interactions, work, it's just a really insightful conversation. Jason's a very successful ex-player in his own right, so it's a really great conversation, and I don't know how I'm going to edit it down. So what we've done is I've edited it a little bit, and then we've just sort of put it out in its sort of raw format so that you can hear as much of the conversation. I've taken out a little bit of the me saying and Tom saying and I've taken out a fair amount of that.
That's probably about 75% of the conversation then, to be honest, isn't it? It's gone from an hour to, I don't know, 8 minutes, I imagine.
Yeah, so just sort of as always, Tom, you been up to much?
No, not really. Golf wise, I haven't really played that much, to be fair now. So that time of year, unfortunately, like I said, as I don't do this for a living anymore, I get to pick and choose my days, and it's been pretty crap week. So just being with the family and stuff. It's been both enjoyable and torturous at the same time. How about yourself? You been playing much or anything? Anything to report?
No, not playing a lot myself. I'm very excited because I'm going for fitting for some new irons at the weekend. So I'm
shiny
really
toys.
Shiny
I'm
toys.
like a magpie now. I'm all over it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Anything in the back of your mind that sticks out iron wise?
I mean, I think we can all agree it's sort of blades.
Oh, 100%.
It's getting pretty serious.
Yeah, I mean, get that 2-iron that looks like a butter knife in your bag and you're away.
Yeah, I think my game's up to it.
Yeah, I think you've got the skills to carry it off. The thing is, mate, is at least after that, when you're shooting 105, you're going to look chuffing good doing it.
Great doing
That's the main thing.
That's the key
Yeah, I mean, golf's all about how you look. It doesn't matter about the numbers. It's all about how you look. Yeah, everyone knows that.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited about that because I'm a massive nerd. We're not going to do the tour news, although it feels a bit odd because we're recording here after Tiger Woods has just equaled Sam Snead's 82 wins.
He's only tied it though, so it's not worth mentioning. Don't worry about it.
No big deal.
It's fine.
Come back to us when you achieve something, mate.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get over it anyway.
So I don't think he listens. Anything you want to say before we kick it in, Tom?
No, but I will just give a quick special shout out to Stephen Brown. Unbelievable effort in Portugal this week. Guy that was basically looking at going back to Q School to try and get his European Tour card. Had to finish, I think, top 3 to not do that. Not only did he do that, but he won the tournament, securing his rights for 2 years. So, yeah, he will now enjoy not going to the Q School and having to deal with that. So, I grew up, played a little bit with Steve growing up, so really chuffed for him. Another genuine nice guy on tour. So, well done, mate. I'm sure you're not listening, but if you are, there's your shout out. And yeah, that's it from me this week, I think. Let's crack on with the interview.
So he's comfortably your non-shank of the week. I'm going to choose Tiger because, I mean, yeah, you can't not.
Yeah.
And I did read somewhere, I was reading somewhere today that his 82 wins versus Sam Snead's 82 wins, like some of Sam Snead's 82 wins were 18-hole tournaments. Some of them were 15-man fields. One of them was a 4-way tie at the top where they just gave everyone the W. So,
no count back in them days.
Yeah, absolutely. So two different 82s. Yeah, that's it. I mean, that is literally going to be it from us. You will hear us say goodbye at the end of the interview with Jason, and then that will be the end of the episode. So I hope you enjoy the conversation, and if not,
you're listening to the wrong podcast.
Yeah, or just message Tom and tell him.
TS Golf 63. Get me on Twitter. I've already had a minimal amount of abuse hurled at me, so I've still got plenty left in the tank, I think. So
Excellent.
Bring it on.
So we're going to start the interview. Rate, subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a thing. Rate us. If you can leave us a comment, that would be awesome, because you can tell us how amazing you think the podcast is, or hurl abuse at Tom on the podcast comments. That would be good. If you leave us a comment when you rate us, that would be really good. Share us around. Make sure you tell people who you think might enjoy it, so they can hear as well. We think you're really going to like this conversation. We're
tell
really
us.
pleased with it.
Tell us what you think of the format as well with just the interview, because potentially we could get some more guys lined up if it's something that you'd like to hear, from players to, guys behind the scenes, whatever. So let us know what you think, and hopefully if you guys like it, then we can get a few more lined up and have a few interviews and, get you listening to the guys you want to hear, rather than me and Ben ramble on about not a lot.
Well, what more can they want than us? Here's the interview. Bye, guys. Okay, guys, so we're really pleased. We've got Jason Palmer on the line with us. So I'll give you a quick intro to Jason and who he is. So he's a graduate of the Challenge Tour. I think, if my show notes are right from Tom, did quite well on the Alps Tour Order of Merit. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, well, he won the Alps Tour Order of Merit, which got him onto the Challenge Tour.
That's like I say, quite well on the Alps Tour.
Yeah, as good as you can do.
Yeah. Ex-European Tour pro. I've got here one-handed bandit, and we'll have to ask him a little bit in a minute about how many hands you need to get out of the road hole bunker at St Andrews. We'll point you to Twitter to see some footage of that. I've got Countdown Colossus and Leicester City fan, and a bit of a poker legend, and caddying for Chris Paisley, who's just, as we record, come off a 7-under final round at the Portugal Open to finish in the top 5. So we've got Jason Palmer with us. Jason, thanks so much for joining us.
Absolute pleasure.
Good afternoon, or good evening, should I say, Palms. Good to catch up with you again, mate.
Yeah, great to hear from you.
Good man. We'll sort of crack into this. As we mentioned there, you're now on the bag of Chris Paisley, who he's had a massive 3 weeks, which now gets him into Turkey. So you're off this week, not obviously going to the HSBC, but then you're away to Turkey. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So traipsed back from Portugal this morning. Can I just say, first of all, I think that's the best introduction I've ever had of anywhere.
That's the service we like to deliver, mate. We try to set a standard here on the podcast. We've got a very small but very discerning set of listeners who want the best.
I just loved that introduction. It was brilliant. Yeah, so back from Portugal this morning. And week off, recharge the batteries, and then ready to go again for the final series.
Can I ask, what is a week off for a caddy? Is it? I'm assuming he's not making you clean the clubs, for example. Is it actually a break, or is there sort of work in between to get prepared for the next event?
No, you see, this is the best thing about being a caddy as opposed to being a player. Is a week off is a week off.
That's genuinely a week off. Brilliant.
I don't have to go and practice, to keep your levels of performance there. You don't have to go to the gym. You don't have to do anything. So it is a week off.
Lovely.
That sounds amazing.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, we know from that introduction that you're quite the wordsmith, Palms.
At times.
So, I mean, with that big intro we've given you, obviously the burning question is, when you did make your appearance on Countdown, what was the longest word that you recorded?
Oh, wow. I did have I had a 9. Yeah, I think it was Romanite. had Romanites as a 9.
That is filth.
It's one of the many ways that golf and countdown are different. Is you celebrate getting a 9 in one and not the other.
That's absolute
That's
filth,
true.
by the way. Romanites for 9.
But the thing is, I thought, oh, that's it. I've got a 9, and I had it. I saw it straight away. I was like, I've got him here. I've got him. And he came up with matronize, so I didn't even beat him.
What a douchebag!
Yeah, he was a tough customer.
He was just showboating at that point, I think.
Can I ask what Romanites means? Because I haven't got a clue.
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. just know it's a word.
Well, there you go.
Oh, brilliant!
And that's all you need on Countdown. That's all you need. You just need to know it's a word. You don't need an explanation.
Oh well. Next week on Countdown Corner. So I've got to ask. In that case, putting you right on the spot. Countdown and golf colliding. What's your favourite golf word?
Oh, great question.
Ooh, favourite golf word?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to point you.
Probably something simple like a DUNCH. It's quite descriptive. It's quite you know exactly what happened.
It's one of the few sort of onomatopoeic golf words.
Yes,
it's brilliant.
Exactly.
Hey, how'd you like that, Tom?
Romanites, onomatopoeic.
How'd you like that?
I literally have no idea what's going on right now.
Our listeners have no idea what's happening.
This is a joke. So anyway, now that we've covered Countdown, we've mentioned you're now on the bag, Chris Paisley, but you yourself, you obviously have quite an illustrious sort of career in golf. You won the Alps Tour there and the Challenge Tour, and then you made your way to the European Tour. How did you get into golf, and just run us through sort of, how you found your way really to the Alps Tour?
Yeah, okay. So I took up golf totally by chance. Couldn't have been any luckier. My friend was I played tennis from the age of 8 till 14, and was at a decent level, sort of a county level, but I totally plateaued. But at the age of 12,
never a good thing.
No, I didn't even peak at 40. I peaked at 12. I just stopped improving. But I sort of felt that I had to keep going, and I kept going to the coaching lessons sessions, and I just wasn't getting any better. But I was still okay, but that was it. I was watching other people start the game later than me and improve past me.
Yeah.
And I thought, this isn't great.
This won't.
So a friend of mine just asked me to go over to the park with a golf club and a golf ball. Nothing more than that, just really basic.
Houses and all sorts.
Just over the park, where I'm pretty sure ball games were prohibited.
Strictly forbidden.
You get that.
Put the cracks on anyway. Yeah, so kind of really spoiling the fun. But I probably hit, I don't know, 50 shots. One was good, and that's the only shot I remember. I just remember making that. It was a Tiger Shark 7-iron. I just plucked it from my dad's cupboard, where there was all random bits of old sporting equipment, and I plucked this Tiger Shark 7-iron, and I hit one sweet shot with it right out the sweet spot, and that's the only shot I remember. It just sailing through the air. I think towards some goalposts at the other end, and it was. I remember that, and then the next time I went back again, and then eventually, a load of friends, we all joined a public golf course, which was £75 season ticket.
Oh. It's cheap up north, isn't it, Ben?
Unlimited golf. And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
You got 2 courses in for that as well.
No way.
Okay.
Yeah. One was across the other side of Leicester. So occasionally we'd get our parents to drive over there, and we'd get a game on the other course for free. And it was brilliant. I think came down, handicap, started shooting down. I went 26-5, I think, in 2 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But still, so now I'm about 16, and I was just enjoying it. And then eventually I joined a course called Kirby Muxloe.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
I probably spent more time there than my home.
Yeah, we've all done.
Yeah,
that sounds familiar.
As you do.
Hours now, but
decided to, I eventually got to plus figures and decided to go to university, and I studied golf management studies at Birmingham. It was lucky because I was one of the lowest handicaps there. It gave me funding to play big amateur events. You got a scholarship from the R&A. It was fantastic in that respect of giving me the finances I needed to go and play the big amateur stuff, because obviously as an amateur you don't earn diddly squat.
No, you earn absolutely.
You can't earn anything. So
no, exactly, diddly squat, like you say. Which is always fun going grinding your nuts off around some links course for 4 days to be told you've won. Here's your pat on the back. Thanks very much. Oh, by the way, your hotel bill £600. See you next year.
Yes. So you're just playing for the love of the game, aren't you? And
those sort of £50 pro shop credits don't buy you much, do they?
No.
They don't get very far. They don't get very far at all. So after my degree, I then played more amateur golf, I think. I went to Australia for a couple of winters out there, broke through into the England squad. But at this point, at the back end of my amateur career, although I was playing better golf tee to green than ever, I developed the chipping yips.
Yeah, so this is obviously, in our intro where we said one arm bandit, and this is kind of that's where I know a lot of the guys from. We sort of grew up playing together. Whereas, my first memory of you is hearing basically, about how you'd been down under for a couple of winters, and then this whole thing was going on, and all of a sudden, you were obviously, you were chipping, bunk play, everything was one-handed pretty much, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I was still persevering with two hands as an amateur. At the back end of the amateur stuff, I was still persevering. I remember. So I just got back from my second stint in Australia, where I'd had it really bad. Didn't have any good results there because of it. Came and played in the Lagonda Trophy at Magog.
Yeah.
I loved the tournament, loved the course. It's quite short and you have to be straight. There's reachable par fives. Even for me, I was a quite short hitter, as Tom will know.
Palms was one of those that was never known as a bomber.
Not a bomber.
Yeah.
No. I think isn't the charitable term for that a ball striker? You're a ball striker.
Yeah.
Ball strike. Well, I'm not sure that's the term either. couldn't strike a match.
He was very good mentally, Ben. That's what that means.
Well, I want to pick up on something here, because to me, there must have been a conscious decision, obviously, to just put your left hand in your pocket while you're chipping, or. So what was the thinking behind this? Was this was just purely mental to get over the yips and it stuck, it worked, or what was the thinking behind that?
It was just purely, I'd hit bottom. I was still practicing with two hands, because if you're struggling with your chipping, you don't automatically think, I know, I'll play one-handed, because it's just daft. It's daft, isn't it?
Well, so it strikes me. It sounds to me. It sounds like a drill. That sounds to me like there's a drill.
Yeah.
There's put your left hand in your pocket, and actually, it's just started working.
Exactly. I think I was just messing around. I was like, look, this is so frustrating. I was showing, a friend was there and I was practicing, and with two hands, it was duff, fat, thin, top. I could top it.
Top. I'd love
on a chip. Anything was possible. And then I just showed, look, this is stupid. This is how stupid it is. I can do it with one hand.
Yeah.
And the strike was there. It was, and the strike was exactly how it should be, like crisp. The ball turf. It was beautiful. Yeah. I was like, that's how stupid this is. And then that sort of planted the seed.
Yeah.
That I could do it one-handed, but I didn't commit to it, because you still think you'd look ridiculous. And it wasn't until the Alps Tour, when Neil Chowder, you'll remember Neil well. Yeah, another Leicestershire lad.
Yeah, another good player. Yeah,
took him on in a chipping competition, first with two hands, and he beat me he wiped the floor with me. And then we did it again, I was one-handed, he was two-handed. We had a really fun chipping contest. But he said, look, it's a results game. It's really good. Just try it.
Yeah, just go.
And I tried it, and I never looked back after that.
Yeah,
I never looked back. I all of a sudden went from that fear of missing a green and the dread of walking up there and finding a average lie.
Yeah.
Or the fact that you had to go over something. That had gone. I was just enjoying missing greens. It totally freed me up.
Yeah.
And I was lucky. I think my tennis probably helped because I had that hand-eye coordination, of one hand. And I don't know if that helped a little bit, but it was acceptable. Obviously, I had limitations, but it was acceptable.
Yeah.
And my other strengths, which were hitting it straight and putting well, as long as I could then get my chip on the green, I was giving myself a chance.
Yeah.
And it totally saved my career. And, at that point, the first year, you don't think, oh, he's chipping. People would obviously think he's chipping one-handed.
Yeah.
He is not going to do it. He's not going to do anything in professional golf. And I'm sure the members at Kirby Muxloe were thinking the same. This guy, what is he doing? He's a professional. He's chipping with one hand. He's got no chance. I'm sure I was written off in many quarters. But I didn't believe any of it. I just carried on and loved the game, and that's really saved my career. And I managed to get all the way from Alps Tour onto the Challenge Tour, and then eventually European Tour. I had a really good run.
So that was. Go on, sorry, Ben. Go on.
I was going to say. So, in terms of the you played across the sort of 3 different tours there, are there any sort of really noticeable differences between the 3 tours, other than obviously sort of the quality of the golf, the size of the tournaments you're playing? But in terms of just as a player approaching the game, what are the differences across the 3 tours there?
I'm going to say one of the huge differences is the attitude of the players and the sort of camaraderie within the group. Alps Tour was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Because you're staying in budget hotels, you're playing for peanuts. The prize funds are if you make a cut and you finish outside the top 20, you're not covering your expenses.
No.
So and it's not easy. So everyone mucks in together. Everyone's in the same boat, and you really just bond, I think, more because you're all. Well, that's certainly what happened on Alps Tour. Anyway, I would hope it's the same across most satellite tours where there's sort of a collective.
I think, like you said,
fight. You're fighting, aren't you?
Yeah, I just think you don't have an option, do you? It's kind of like you say, you're playing for peanuts. You've probably at that stage, unless you're very fortunate, you've not really got any decent sponsors. So it's sort of coming out of very little you have got, or your own money. So you just think, well, yeah, I've got to jump in this this room that's supposed to sleep 3, and there's 7 of us, and we got to make it work, kind of thing. And I think you're absolutely right. That's what I found. I unfortunately obviously never got to sort of play properly on Challenge or European Tour, but I certainly found that some of the best times I had were sort of that whole sort of that camaraderie and that mucking in together, like you say, that you have on certain Alps, and like you say, I imagine all sort of satellite tours.
Yeah, three men in a Premier class. If anyone's ever had the joys of staying in a Premier class hotel in France, you'll know what I mean. You can barely fit 3 suitcases in there, never mind 3 people, and yet we did.
I mean, it does make Butlins look like the Hilton or something like that. It's pretty dire.
Yeah, so the big difference I found going up through the tours, it almost becomes less and less friendly as you go.
Okay, yeah,
and more insular. So when you get to the top tours, everyone's. Yes, there's people that you know from amateur golf and things like that, and it's not all doom and gloom, but everyone is a lot more focused, a lot more driven. They'll do what they want to do, there is a big difference there, definitely.
Because it sounds this is going to massively oversimplify it, but I remember talking to I think
Me?
talking to I think our parents about the difference between us playing golf and the way
one was good and one wasn't very good.
Well, the way that I mean, it hurts, but it's true. One of the ways, one way that I think Dad put it was standing on the first tee. You, Tom, are thinking about how many shots you're going to win by, and I'm thinking about, am I just going to have a nice walk and chat to these people I'm playing golf with? And that really did come down to the mental difference between the two of us. You were driven to win. That's what motivated you, and you were really very good because of it. I
was very good at cheating.
For what? Obviously, started out as a player in your own right. So, what led to becoming caddy?
So I had to quit in the end. In 2015, I started getting really bad wrist problems. I think I basically got an arthritic wrist. So I had surgeries, injections, and nothing worked.
Oof.
Long story short, I just had to quit because I'd spent an arm and a...
Where were you golf wise when you quit? Were you European Tour or were you coming?
Yeah. So European Tour. Strangely enough, I'd just qualified for US Open. I played Wentworth, made the cut, and then played the qualifier the next day and qualified. So I was in the US Open. Everything was. I felt like I was just finding my feet on the European Tour. I was starting to get results. Starting to feel a bit more at home because it's quite a scary place at first as a newbie.
Yeah.
And you just naturally you just look around and go, oh, there's Lee Westwood. There's
of course. Well,
there's Keimer.
Watching.
I was on the range and Rory McIlroy was on the range in Abu Dhabi. There's Rory McIlroy. I don't deserve to be on the same range as Rory McIlroy. Just after I'd qualified for the US Open, that's when it really hit. And so I played it.
Yeah.
Doctor was like, yeah, it's okay. I had scans and they're like, nothing's broken.
Okay.
I was like, I'm in an awful lot of pain here, but it was like, okay. So I was taking every 2 hours. So every 4 hours I was taking ibuprofen and every 4 hours I was taking paracetamol. So 2 hours in between.
Yeah.
And that got me through it, but I was still in a lot of pain.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I had to play, and I'm so glad I did now because I didn't know at the time that I was not gonna ever be fit again.
Yeah.
But thank goodness I played it because that was my only ever chance to play in a major, and it was a fantastic experience.
Anyone can play in the majors, mate. Don't worry about that.
What?
Anyone can.
Oh, you do.
Royal Birkdale.
The majors are, and we'll just let Ben go to the side, and he can make me a cup of coffee or something. I don't know, but we'll get into it.
Oh, I do love it when you all go together. So what year was this? Where was the US Open that year?
It was Chambers Bay. It was probably one of the worst US Opens in history.
I was just going to say, I mean, it's never a bad major to play in, mate, but what an absolute shocker you had there. Oh, my.
It was awful.
Oh.
The greens were better at Western Park, the public course that I grew up playing.
Oh.
They were described as broccoli by Henrik Stenson, I think it was.
Was there, with the injury, was it just sort of something that went over time, or can you remember there was a particular shot or a particular thing that you went, oh, I'm in trouble now?
No, it was gradual. I was getting shooting pains in the palm of my hand to start with, which were probably warning signs that I didn't realise. And then eventually the pain sort of crept into the wrist. And then I had various procedures, and then the pain was in my thumb. So it was just kind of all over. But wherever it was, I couldn't swing to the same. I just couldn't put the same force in my swing. Top of the backswing, the transition, I couldn't. I would always get pain there.
Yeah.
And then at impact the same. And it's,
Yeah, you can't.
I lost distance and just had to call it a day. Oh. But so after I quit, that is a strange situation to be in, because all you've ever known, like, from the age of 14, was playing amateur golf,
Yeah,
and
of course.
then working up to being a pro, and then you're a pro, and then all of a sudden you've got nothing.
Yeah.
And it was really weird. So I had to decide what I wanted to do.
And how old are you at this point? Sorry.
So I'm now late 20s.
Yeah. God.
But still, all I knew was golf. So I eventually plucked for a career in bookmaking. Happy as Larry. It was a really good fun, great bunch of guys, and something I enjoyed. So I was watching golf and trading golf, both pre-match and live.
Yeah.
And fantastic. So I was still within the sport that I loved and watching the sport that I loved. I was sitting on my arse and watching golf.
Yeah.
So quite a nice job. Yeah. And then out of the blue, I got a text from Chris Paisley saying, "I'm thinking of getting a new caddy. Would you be interested?" And I think he thought it was a long shot at the time, because I did do a little stint of caddying for my friend Charlie Ford as well.
He was Kirby Muck, wasn't he?
Yeah, on the challenge. But this was sort of an intermediate thing whilst I was injured.
Yeah.
It wasn't ever going to be a long-term thing. And yeah, Chris asked if I wanted to caddy. I was like, oh, wow. It's quite a big decision, because obviously I've now finally got a stable job, finally knew exactly what income was coming in, because as a golfer you don't know what's coming in.
No, exactly. No, you never know.
If you play poorly, you're operating at a staggering loss quite quickly.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, even when you won the Alps Tour, I can't imagine you made that much of a profit. And that's when you're winning. So when you're not winning, especially at that level, but I guess at any level, you're absolutely right. The loss is you can't keep going.
Yeah. So I'd finally had a stable income and knew what was coming in each month, and wasn't having to live out of a suitcase and all these things, which were positives. But Chris asked if I wanted to caddy, and then, to be honest, I did think about it for a little bit, but I knew I was going to say yes.
Yeah, you can't say no, can you? You can't say no to that.
I love the game. I love being around it. Being on tour is so much fun, and I missed it. Yeah, and I'm so happy he asked me, because yeah.
I mean, I can really hear in your voice how much you just love being around it and being part of it. Is it?
Yeah.
I'd imagine it would be, in your position, actually quite hard, having been a player, finding success. You suffer the injury. I'd imagine it would be quite hard to be kind of that close to it, but not able to actually play it yourself. But what I'm not getting that from you at the moment. I'm hearing actually you just love to be part of it in any way that was open to you. Is that right?
Absolutely, Ben. Yeah, a lot of people say that. Oh, don't you find it tough? You've been there. You can do that, but you've like kind of cruelly had it taken away. But
yeah,
it's not an option. It's not an option. And don't get me wrong, playing the good times you have as a player are second to none. Nothing. You will never ever match the highs that you get from executing the shots that you need under pressure down the stretch. You will never get a bigger high than that. But conversely, you will never experience the low of missing a cut by one shot.
Yeah.
So, Tom will tell you, it hurts. It hurts.
You'd rather miss it by like 101, to be quite honest. Like, yeah, I get that.
I mean, do you not ever sort of get? You must get frustrated sometimes and just think, "Oh, for God's sake, Chris, give it here, I'll hit it." Do you ever get that kind of emotion on the bag?
No, never. Honestly, never.
He's happy letting Chris do the work. I'll just.
He is. Yeah, Chris is so much better than I ever was. That I have total trust in his abilities. Like, it's funny because the things that I was best at as a player was course management and strategy, because I had limitations in how far I hit it and in my spin rate was quite low, so I had a low ball flight into greens, and I had to be very sort of shrewd in where I'm, and I chipped one-handed, so I couldn't short side myself. So there's quite a lot of limitations there as a player. So I had to manage my way around that and around the golf course. So that was my strength, was the strategy and thinking well, and they're the things that really lend themselves well to being a caddy.
I mean, yeah, I can certainly vouch for that. I mean, I remember a couple of times a few guys that, you know, I'd say have similar games to Palms in the sense that they weren't bombers.
Yeah.
You know, they really had to think their way around the golf course. We'd say to them, you know, especially this was the year that Palms won the Alps Tour Order of Merit. We'd say, look, go out on that third round. You've missed the cut.
Yeah.
You can't get a flight home till the next day.
Yeah.
Go out and watch Palms, because that's what he does. He, you know, I'm sure he won't mind me saying, you know, he's not one of the guys you'd go on the range and he'd rip it and you'd go, my God, this guy's going to be unbelievable. But he just thought his way around, well, evidently better than anyone else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's, you know, that's where, to me, that was Palm's great strength. So the fact that you know, that would obviously very naturally lend itself to caddying. So yeah, it's sounds like a great sort of combination and a great skill set to have, to be honest.
So
yeah.
So Jason, talk to me a bit about your sort of specific role on the bag.
Okay, so I wouldn't be involved in the technical side at all.
Yeah,
he already had a great team around him. He's got a great coach, Andrew Nicholson, his brother as well, involved in the putting and short game. He also had, you know, fitness guy, I think Kenny, and other. He already had a great team around him. And I think he was just looking for a tiny bit more on the course. Times when he maybe needed a tiny bit of input, maybe on a read of a putt. He doesn't bring me in very often. Maybe only once or twice around, just when he's unsure.
Okay.
Which is cruel, by the way, Tom, because that means if he basically. That's cruel, because if he can't read a putt, that means it is a devilish putt to read.
Yeah, and then you've got to go.
And the only ones I get brought in on. Yeah. So
yeah.
So I'll do a little bit of green reading, and then, you know, 95% of the time, you know exactly what the shot is before when you get to the ball, you know, it's obvious. But those other 5%, you kind of really need. It's good to have someone to ask, and give you a definitive answer, because the worst thing you can be as a golfer is indecisive.
It's the worst of the bag, isn't it?
Exactly. We have all been there. I'm sure all the listeners can relate to, you know, having doubts over the ball.
Yeah.
That is the last thing you want. It never ends well. It never ends well.
No.
So just there's some times when he'll ask me, and I'll be like, "Yep, this is the club," or, you know, we're in doubt. All the greens short of it. Let's just hit one less and hit it a bit harder.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine coming up short here. Sometimes you don't have exact and perfect yardages, and it's just knowing exactly where you want to miss it.
Yeah.
Things like that.
You know, you've got the likes of Rory McIlroy, who's got, you know, his effectively one of his mates on the bag. Same with Tommy Fleetwood. You know, are you kind of that guy that, you know, you're there not just for a chat, but you know what I mean, to sort of be that guy he can talk to? Or are you more kind of what I'd say almost old school, where, you know, it's a strictly professional relationship and you kind of just give him the numbers and that's almost it, kind of thing?
Oh no, you know, we're good mates. We've been mates for a long time.
Okay.
Still friends now. So, you know, we'll have dinner together and we'll talk about any old nonsense away from the golf course.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. You know, so you're friends first and foremost.
I mean, I think
it's really nice.
I think that's massive, because, you know, you're, especially now with, all the nonsense about slow play. You're effectively out there for 4.5 hours, and if you've not got someone next to you that you can just chat to between shots just to take your mind off it, it just fries your brain, doesn't it? You're out there for that long with that guy.
You spend such a long time together on the golf course. You spend the time, before rounds. You prepare. You spend the whole week together. So you've got to get on with them.
Yeah, of course you do. Yeah, I agree.
If you don't, then if you don't get on with them brilliantly, then you're not going to enjoy your time. And if you're not going to enjoy your time, you're not going to get the best out of yourself, because you need to be having fun. Yeah. First and foremost, you need to be having fun, and we just try and keep it fun, but also, we are serious. We are working hard towards playing well, but at the same time, it's fun.
I can definitely see the appeal of that kind of relationship, not least because, as we sort of alluded to earlier, at that level, golf can be a really lonely game. You don't necessarily have the camaraderie you had when you were coming up through the satellite tours, and so actually having someone you've got that relationship with, you've got that bond with, it's got to be a positive on a number of levels, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. Different players want different things from their caddies as well. Some probably would want to just keep it strictly professional. And often, some guys, the caddie's the first person to go. They'll chop and change. There's not a lot of job security in being a caddy at times. It's like a bit of a merry-go-round, which isn't great. Everyone's different. I think Chris is quite a level-headed guy, and he and Sean, his previous caddy, they worked together for just over 4 years. So I don't think he's quick to apportion the blame on the caddy, whereas some guys do. Because maybe it's protecting their ego if they just go, no, it can't be me. I'll just get rid of the caddy.
Who is it that's famously really mean to their caddy? Is it Bubba or is it Spieth? Who is it? Famously,
Spieth had a quite a well-documented run-in with his caddy last year, I think.
Oh, is he? Oh.
And Bubba's had one as well. Having said that, so I think Palm's probably the best person to tell us. But when you get into a moment of just pure heat, you're human. You're going to look for someone to blame, and who's the nearest guy to you? It's the guy carrying your clubs around.
Well, I'll be honest. It's really helpful for me when I'm playing golf to have someone to throw my clubs for me. That would be really helpful.
I'm sure I can help you out there, mate. I've had a few in my time, a few absolute beauts. So
I think obviously when you're talking about playing golf, you've got the Hall of Fame, you've got the great golfers. Is there a sense of there are what you would consider Hall of Fame legends of the game caddies out there, like Fluff or Steve Williams or Fooch? Does that kind of mentality exist? Is there sort of recognised? Oh my God, that's a legend of a caddy out there.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Billy Foster would be a legend, I would say. Bones Mickelson's caddy, what a legend.
Yeah.
Although sometimes
Palm does have somewhat of a man crush on Mickelson as well, I have to say that.
Well, who doesn't with those calves?
Is in love with those calves, mate.
He's my number one man in the whole world.
As a caddy, obviously, like you say, you spend the week with your player and a lot of time with your player. Are you in the same hotels as your player, or is there sort of separate areas for caddies to sort of separate hotels, and sort of in the evenings off the course? Is it caddies hanging out with caddies? Is it players hanging out with their caddies? Or sort of how does that dynamic work?
So from my time on European Tour, when I had good pal Jim Longstaff on the bag, we roomed together at first.
Okay.
And had a great time for the first sort of month and a half, 2 months. But then after a while, you're like, oh wow, like we're spending far too much time together.
Yeah.
And you start winding each other up. So we were like, no, we've got to split some of our time. So I kind of learned from that me and Chris shouldn't room together.
Okay.
Because you just I think if you spend too much time with anybody, you end up driving the other one crazy after
a couple of week recording this with Ben, and he does my absolute nutting. So
is that enough?
You know what I mean?
That's enough, isn't it?
Yeah, that's more than enough.
What?
So we keep it pretty separate, we'll still eat dinner, but then after that. But his family travels with him. He's got Kerry and Ella, who's 1 year old. So they travel with him most of the time. So he's got that going on. So it's good. So we just sort of do separate things. I'm quite a loner. I don't.
Okay. Yeah.
I sort of just kind of keep myself to myself and sort of just have my own routine. I'll play a bit of poker in the evening.
Yeah.
Watch some stuff on Netflix. A bit of a loner, a bit sad like that.
What an invention Netflix was for caddies, by the way.
Right?
My God.
Yeah. Yes. Superb.
I think
There's so much stuff on there.
Oh, it's just ridiculous.
So one other question I've got is the only thing that the majority of people see about caddies is usually carrying the bag, holding a yardage book. So what's the best and what's the hardest part of the job that people might not understand or be aware of?
Stumped him.
Just making bad decisions. Your caddies are going to make mistakes as well.
Yeah.
So that is the hardest part. Wind that isn't consistent, like a gusty wind, a gusty swirly wind.
Gusty swirly
horrible.
wind. Riding all those trees, no chance.
That is the caddy's nightmare right there. Because you can't see that on the screens. You can't see what the wind's doing. That would be number one worst thing. And also, when you are brought in to, give those reads, that's when all of a sudden the pressure's like suddenly on, and you've got to. You might not have read a putt for 14, 15 holes.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you're brought in, and you got to make a read, and it's you better read it right, else it can cost a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's tough as well.
Okay.
What about the best thing? What's the best thing about the job that people might not see?
Just the good days. The good days and it's so rewarding when you make a good read or you make the correct call.
Yeah.
And he hits the shot and you're like, yeah, we've absolutely called it perfectly.
Yeah, nailed it.
When you're in between clubs and you say, no, this is the one.
Yeah.
Definitely. And you get it right. It's so rewarding.
That must be when you get a real sense of the closest thing to it being a team sport week in, week out.
Yeah.
So what's how do you find, I've listened to a couple of sort of things, and caddies seem to sort of say that the hardest moment is literally that split second where it's completely out of your control. You could have given them the best numbers, the best, wind direction, everything. But that split second when they're over the ball, that's when effectively you as a caddy, you're now out of the game. How do you handle that? Okay. Sounds like you've got complete trust in Chris. So it sounds like you would. But do you ever have those moments and you just think, oh God, do you know what I mean? Though, whether it's a shot under pressure or just generally.
Yeah, because you're totally out of control. I think I've come to accept that quite quickly, which is good, because when you're playing, you have control, don't you, of that moment?
It's all
you're the one. Yeah. So if you mess it up, it's like, well, okay, that was me. But we're going to make mistakes. Like, I'm going to make mistakes, and Chris is sometimes not going to execute the shot how he wants.
Yeah.
But because I've not executed shots like thousands of times myself, I know that he hasn't done it on purpose.
He hasn't thought, you know what, I've got too much money, I'll just spunk 10 grand right now.
Yeah. I'm just going to snap it. I'm just going to snap up this one in the water left because I feel like it. You just accept that you have no control at that moment, but you've done everything. You've done all the work that you could, think the thing is, and maybe we weren't great at this actually at first, is you've got to make a real definitive decision, like a definite decision on exactly the shot that you're going to play.
Yeah.
Because if you've been a bit wishy-washy in the shot that you're going to play, then that's when indecision can creep in, and that's when you can execute a poor shot purely because you haven't fully decided on something.
I mean, that to me, my analogy of that is sort of if you go into a restaurant and they ask you for your order and you say, "Oh, bring me whatever," and then they bring you something and you're disappointed with what they brought you. You've not committed to a decision, so therefore you can't expect to get a result. Do you know what I mean? Like,
great analogy. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Great analogy.
What's the best? Is there one shot? Obviously we hope it's from Chris, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. Is there one shot that you've seen that you thought that's just phenomenal? Like there's no way I could do that, and I don't really know how you've done that.
There were so many. There's just this past 2 weeks there has been so many shots. The last round at Paris National was incredible. I think
that golf course just looks silly hard.
I think Chris was 2 over through 7. And then the next shot will stick in my head for a long time. It was like 189 to a front left pin, wind howling off the right. And he hit a cut up 5-iron. It was just so perfect. It was exactly what we discussed, just a hold up 5, full hold up 5, and he hit it with perfect amount of cut spin. And then the wind just at the end of its flight just nudged it back left towards the pin. It nearly went in. It went to a foot.
Oh,
it was unbelievable.
That's pure.
That's gorgeous.
That sticks in my mind. But he also hit a 9-iron to a foot in the same round, again with into a crosswind, but this time drawing it into the crosswind instead of he was so good in that round. Yeah. There's been several.
That's great for your putting stats if you keep hitting it to a foot.
Oh yeah. He's not strokes gained approach, which is all the rage these days. Those strokes gained stats. Are you a fan of those?
Do you know what? I think I'm not really much of a statistician. It's easy for me to say, but I'm just all about getting up there, hitting it, and whatever you sign for at the end of the day. I don't read too much into that. More than anything, because believe it or not, Kings Hill monthly medals don't tend to have strokes gained stats on them. So I do find it hard to compare myself to the field. But
you would be gaining bundles on the field.
Well, I'd like to think so, but it's probably not as far as I'd like to be ahead of everyone else.
In which department do you think you're gaining the most strokes on the field?
Oh, God, definitely not putting. Good Lord. Definitely not putting. No idea. Probably driving. I tend to keep it quite straight.
Definitely.
But obviously, we've asked you about the best shots, so we can't obviously not have the counter to that. So, again, hopefully not from Chris this time, but have there been any shots in the sort of 6 months you've been out there that you've seen someone hit and you've just been like, what are you even doing here, mate? Like, come on, seriously?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I tell you what, Palms, as someone that's never been a caddy, but I have been employed, take this opportunity to not slag your boss off, okay? Anyone else, just any name will do, just not Chris Paisley.
There's got to be better to slag him off. I know he can take it because I abuse him all the time.
Well, if you're not in Turkey, we know why then.
I'm quite good at forgetting the bad shots
to have.
But there were a couple of stinkers at Wentworth, actually. The last hole at Wentworth, we've talked through the shot. It's a cut, it's a big dog leg left to right, isn't it? That last at Wentworth.
Yeah.
Loads of room right, reachable in 2 if you hit it off the right line. And we've gone right. Let's hit that little cut with the driver. Start it on the bunker left and work it round.
Feed it off it.
The wind was off the left as well, I think. So it's perfect for that.
Right.
Perfect for that shot. Well, it must have started 20 yards left of the line we were talking about. And it was going further left in the air. It hit the out of bounds. It hit the out of bounds fence to stay in. It hit the out of bounds fence and stayed in bounds. I think we made par. So
solid.
yeah, solid par.
Hitting the out of bounds marker and staying in play, that is a marker of real talent, don't you think?
Ben's had a couple of those in his time, I think.
Real marker, real talent. Anyone on, in terms of your dream draw, anyone out there you would love to be drawn to play with? Equally, anyone out there who you definitely do not want to be drawn to play with?
Like, dream draw. This is a really easy one for me. Yeah.
Go on.
Phil Mickelson.
Got it. Yeah. Called it.
Phil Mickelson, obviously. And the second one, maybe lesser known, Hugo Leon.
Who? That you'd want to play with, sorry, or that you wouldn't?
That we'd want to play with.
Okay.
Hugo.
I saw his name about this week, and I'm trying to think where. Did he go well in Portugal, or have I made that up?
I don't know whether he was the unfortunate one that maybe missed by one solitary place.
That's where I saw it, because they were going through the cards, and I think he finished 116 or whatever it is.
But at various points they said 117 was going to make it. So there was, I don't know, and that would be awful if that has happened. I'm not sure on the final outcome of that. But we played with him in the final round of Paris, and I had the pleasure of playing with him myself in Colombia way back, like maybe in 2011.
Yeah.
And such a nice guy to play with, and like phenomenal player, so complimentary and really supports you, and just gets a great atmosphere in the group.
Good.
Love the bloke. And there's not enough like that, you know. Again, a lot of people are very insular and focused, and that's fine. That's obviously fine. You know, you're playing for your livelihood. You've got to play, and you've got to behave whatever helps you get the best out of your game. But so much fun to play with Hugo, and well, I'd just love to see some of the shots that Mickelson could conjure up.
You'd just be gagging for him to hit a horrendous one to then see the brilliance he's got to make up for the next one, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but he always hits some horrendous ones during the round.
He doesn't wait long.
Yeah, no, yeah. First that'll do.
He is just box office for me, because you never know what you're gonna get. You could get a 0 out of 10 golf shot, and then he'll follow that up with a 10 out of 10. Okay, in terms of bad players to play with, anyone that is painfully slow, anyone.
So you're not queuing up to play with Keegan Bradley or DeChambeau anytime soon?
No, but there's certain occasions, right, where it's acceptable to be slow, where if they get that gusty swirly wind or whatever. But there's some people out there that will discuss the most routine golf shots. And you're like, it's a driver straight down the middle. There's no wind. What are you talking about? There's nothing to analyse whatsoever. And they'll just take an age and be over their time limit as a result.
Yeah.
And that sort of behaviour is not on.
Yeah.
I'm not going to name any names. You probably know from watching it.
Yeah.
You gotta love Bryson DeChambeau taking 2 minutes and 40 seconds over an 8-foot putt and then missing the thing.
That was ridiculous. I couldn't believe what I was seeing there. Although saying that, I think we played in 3.5 hours final round in Portugal. We were flying around. It was great.
Well, I mean, if you're only hitting 64 shots or something, that does help.
That does help.
That's true, yeah. There's a few tap-ins in that as well. It was good.
Not many 3-minute sessions looking for golf balls in there, is there? All right. That's absolutely brilliant. I think we're going to finish off. Tom's going to do the quick fire round. Imagine there's a fancy jingle here for the quick fire round, and Tom's gonna crack on with that.
Well, hang on, just before that, sorry, I have to ask. We mentioned obviously at the top of the show that you're a big Leicester City fan. Just quickly, we can make part of the quick fire round. Are Leicester City going to finish top 4 this season?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it. Rodgers is doing an incredible job, and I'd love to see it, especially after their title-winning season a few years ago. But
what? Hang on, what?
Yeah,
They won.
Yeah, Ben. The 1997 Coca-Cola Cup was not the highlight of Leicester's
absolute pinnacle
career.
of their existence.
Unfortunately,
Emil
Stevie Claridge.
Is it Tony Cottee?
Neil Lennon, was he about?
Neil
then?
Lennon,
He must have been in there, then, wasn't he?
Martin O'Neill.
Certainly was. Yeah.
Who was the keeper? Casey Keller, American keeper. Lovely.
Yeah, I think it would have been Casey Keller in goal. Yeah.
Casey. Right, Palms. As Ben mentioned, we're just going to roll on to the quick fire round. So it's all sort of multiple choice. Just pick your choice. So, yeah, are you ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Good man.
Bring it.
Right, here we go. So, drive or putt?
Putt.
Stroke play, Stapleford, or match play?
Stroke play for me.
Oh, okay. Links or inland?
Links.
Oh, Palms. Oh. There's that low spin ball flights getting you through that, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, links all day. Just chase it along the ground and sort your side spins out. Superb. Creativity.
Fade.
Oh, draw.
Oh, again.
Incorrect.
Come on. It looks so pretty when it's falling left to right, though.
No. Draw, running.
It's all about the run.
To get
well.
Yeah.
Chip or bunker. Either way, you're going one-handed. So,
chip.
Oh, okay. I probably don't need to ask this one then, but flop shot or chip and run?
Oh, flop shot.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, absolute spanner in the works. I would have banked on chip
Mickelson.
and run.
I'm with him.
Nobody, you don't see many highlight reels of chip and runs. See, it's all about the flop shot.
It is a boring shot, isn't it? Let's be fair.
Yeah.
And then finally, Tiger or Nicholas?
Tiger.
All day long.
We are recording this the day after Tiger just won his 82nd
that is
event,
true. Yeah.
At the Zozo Championship, which was pretty impressive. Look, Jason, that's been absolutely brilliant. Thanks so much for that. It'd be great to catch up with you again, sort of in a little while, and just check in and see how it's going, maybe in a couple of months or so. But really, just massively appreciate your time talking to us. I'm going to have a real battle on my hands editing this because I think it's all been just brilliant. So
just keep it all in. It's fine. Just keep it all in.
Thinking, who doesn't want to listen to a 2-hour, 45-minute podcast?
Yeah, Palms, I'll just reiterate that. Great catching up with you again, mate. Awesome to hear from you. Thanks very much for coming in. And yeah, like Ben said, we'll try and catch up at some point, sort of midway through next year or something, and just drop in and see how it's all going.
Yeah, we'll have a game as well.
Oh, will we? Cool. I need to see that one-handed chipping in action again. So yeah, definitely. Yeah. We'll get something in the books.
I need to get back out on the links. So I've got a fair bit of time off coming up, I think. So yeah.
That's brilliant. I mean, it's not a hotly contested accolade, but definitely prepared to name you the official caddy of the Couple of Shankers Golf podcast. So
yes,
that's worth at least 37p bump on any commission you get from Chris. Definitely.
You can't see this, but I am fist pumping right now.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's great. Thanks so much, mate. Really appreciate it.
All right. Cheers, boys.
Cheers, Palms. Thanks, mate.